I, 23 female, am engaged to my fiancé, 27 male. I'm also the mother of my little daughter. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to university full-time since I was raising my daughter. However, I am currently studying history online, where I will hopefully become a history teacher. Balancing studying while raising my daughter hasn't been easy. However, having my fiancé supporting the family has really helped since my fiancé works in a research lab. We have enough money to live comfortably, but saving up money to have our dream wedding would take years. My brother, 28, works as a hospital doctor. His wife also works as a hospital doctor. So to say that they are well off would be an understatement. My brother hasn't had the same difficulties raising a child since they both don't want any children. I don't mind that they both don't have kids, but they have been able to save a lot of money due to this. Recently, I asked my brother if he would help me pay for my wedding, since having him contribute to my wedding would help make it a magical moment for me. My brother offered to give me £5,000 for my wedding, which honestly surprised me. I might be wrong here, but surely as a hospital doctor, my brother should be able to contribute more to my wedding. I told him that I'd appreciate it if he could give me £20,000 for my wedding, since it would really mean a lot, but he refused. I'd be lying if I said I didn't make my annoyance with my brother clear. I told him that his refusal to help me pay for my wedding is selfish, and that if he doesn't help contribute to my wedding, he won't be able to come, since it isn't my fault that I don't have a lot of money to fund my wedding. We argued afterward, and I haven't been returning his calls since. The rest of my family is helping to contribute to my wedding, which makes his refusal even worse. Despite my brother's actions, my father thinks that I'm too harsh on my brother and that my not inviting him to my wedding would be upsetting for him. Am I missing something here? Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You are trying to have a wedding you can't afford. You turned down the money your brother generously offered and demanded more? Seriously? And now you're willing to exclude your brother from your wedding over this? No one owes you anything. Have a wedding you can actually afford without bankrupting your family and friends in the process. I love how she doesn't mind them not having kids. How open-minded of her. And she thinks since they made a choice to remain child-free and are doctors, they should give her money, or else they're just selfish, horrible people. OP, you chose to have a wedding. You don't need to throw a wedding that costs tens of thousands of dollars you don't have. So scale it back. Have the wedding you can afford and apologize to your brother for your selfishness. I love the part where OP says, since it isn't my fault that I don't have a lot of money to fund my wedding. Yes, it is your fault you don't have a lot of money for your wedding. If you can't afford a £20,000 wedding, then don't have one. You are the idiot. Your brother doesn't owe you squat for your wedding, and his offer of 5,000 quid was super generous already. Your behavior is inexcusable, and you should start drafting apologies. When I saw OP say that they were surprised that their brother offered £5,000, I thought it was because they were surprised at the generous and kind gesture. But nope, surprised that it wasn't more. Wow, I would be thankful to receive even just a fraction of that. Most of my friends and family are much better off than I am, but I wouldn't even think about expecting even just a box of pizza. Wait, what? OP, you decided to take yourself out of the workplace / further education and are now badgering your overworked, underpaid junior doctor for an enormous contribution to a wedding you can't afford while he's working on the front lines of a pandemic? In what world would you not be the idiot? My 28 female parents, male 62, female 60, always get my brother, 26 male, better gifts than me. For instance, last Christmas they got him a brand new gaming laptop, while I got a couple of books and some Primark clothes. The difference was so stark that even my mom pointed out that my gifts had been so much cheaper. But don't worry, she made up for it by buying me a magazine, a kid's magazine. Yeah, this has been happening since we were children. It even happened when my brother was making twice as much money as me. For some reason, they dote on him, but give me cheap gifts. My brother has noticed it too and feels guilty about it. He suggested that this year, instead of leaving it up to him, I buy something for myself and then ask them to pay for it. He does that most years. So after making sure my parents were okay with it, I did exactly that. I got myself a pair of off-brand AirPods. They were cheaper than the gift my parents got for my brother's birthday this year. But whatever. It's not about the money. It's about getting something that is useful and that makes me happy. Yesterday was my birthday. I opened my brother's present, a book I'd been eyeing for a while. He's the best. And then retrieved the AirPods from my bedroom. I gently reminded my parents that they hadn't paid for them yet. And then things got weird. First, they kept insisting that they had already paid me. I had to show them my banking app before they believed me. Why the heck would I lie about that when I've always been nothing but honest to them? Then when I finally convinced them that they hadn't paid for it, they tried to haggle with me. They only wanted to pay for part of the gift rather than the whole thing, as they had done with my brother's more expensive gift. And they started arguing with each other about how much they should pay. One of them would name a number, and then the other one would name a smaller one, and so on. I found the entire thing so hurtful and offensive that I got teary-eyed. I excused myself and locked myself in the bathroom to cry. When I came out of the bathroom, they clearly felt bad. They told me they'd pay for the whole thing after all, but I left soon after. I was too hurt to stay. I know that what matters is the intent behind a gift, rather than the price of it, but it really doesn't feel like the intent behind this gift was to make me feel loved. Am I the idiot for leaving before the birthday party was over? Not the idiot. Your parents, for whatever reason, decided to completely mess up your birthday. It's super likely they ignored this until your brother admonished them while you cried in the bathroom. From now on, say this: no more presents. Your gift giving is hurtful. I don't want the regularly scheduled reminders that I'm not worth the energy to get a thoughtful gift for. If they give you a gift anyway, leave it wherever they give it to you, unopened. Not the idiot. And I'm sorry, but this isn't one weird exception, and otherwise they love you equally. That might be the case for one wildly skewed gift. They literally value you less to the point that they were arguing in front of you as to how little they could get away with spending. I cannot comprehend that. Do not expect them to change because they don't think they do anything wrong. Keep a bit of a distance and know you'll never get the appreciation you need from your parents. I, 34 male, used to be in a relationship with Sarah, 35. We met in middle school, dated on and off in high school, and even talked about marriage in college. This all ended when I caught her cheating with my roommate, and we broke up. It was really hard, but it got worse when I found out that she was pregnant. Immediately, I sought her out to confront the possibility of her baby being mine. Sarah avoided me while sending her friends and her new boyfriend, Adam, the guy she cheated with, after me to stop harassing her. Finally, I reached out to her mom, explicitly stating that I only wished to know if there was a chance that I was the father. After enough persistence, Sarah contacted me directly, calling me pathetic, that I wasn't the father, and if I continued, she would call the police. Being a broke 19-year-old, I took her at her word, washed my hands of the situation, transferred to another college, and moved on with my life. Eventually, I met my fiancée, Miranda, 29, and we were very happy together. Before the global issue, we were supposed to get married, but understandably that got pushed back. Now that restrictions are loosening up, we're moving forward with the plans but have drastically cut down on the number of invites to abide by the venue's safety policy. After completing the list and sending out the invitations, I was recently contacted by Kevin, teen, claiming to be my son. Obviously, I didn't take him at his word and asked who his mom was, and he said Sarah. I told him that before he was born, his mom assured me that I wasn't the father and asked him why he thought I was. Kevin explained that it came out that Sarah's husband, Adam, wasn't his bio dad, divorced her, and hasn't spoken to Kevin in years. I agreed to take a paternity test and was shocked that I was his dad. I am angry because I asked Sarah if there was any chance, and she denied it. Miranda was surprised but supportive, and I've been speaking to Kevin regularly while also making plans to see him. He saw on social media that Miranda and I were planning on getting married in the spring and wanted to come. Unfortunately, everyone we've already invited has RSVP'd and made special accommodations to attend our child-free wedding. There's no way Kevin can come without Miranda and me disinviting someone else, which we feel is rude. I told Kevin that while I can invite him to the wedding, I promised to put together another event so we can meet more people in my family. He seemed understanding, but his maternal grandmother called me up to scold me for not making him a priority now that I'm aware of his existence. Am I the idiot? Edit. The venue has a policy on the number of people who can attend due to safety. This isn't about fire codes but a global issue, not that the wedding is child-free. Not the idiot. You told him the circumstances and he said he understood. The grandmother is not involved. I would seriously consider suing this kid's mom if you have proof she lied to you. Holy cow. Suddenly, Granny wants to have an opinion about someone being a parent when her stupid daughter waved off OP when he tried to be responsible and find out if the kid was his or not? Like, concentrate on your amoral daughter and don't worry about anyone else. Jesus. What grounds could Grandma possibly have to stand on? Kevin was not at the wedding in the first place because her daughter denied him the opportunity to be Kevin's father. Tell his grandmother to kiss your butt and spend more time raising her horrible daughter. You are the idiot. You can absolutely add another chair to a spring wedding. You just don't want to have him there. You don't want to be his father yet, but don't lie and say it's because it's child-free and you can't add him in. You're allowed to do these things, but that doesn't make you less of an ass. By the way, you have 18 years of possible back pay child support if your ex so wishes to fight for it. I'd be talking to lawyers. You are the idiot. Why were you chasing her for answers and not a paternity test from the day you found out she was pregnant? This could have been done through the courts to determine paternity without cost, and it is hard to believe you did not know this. Some countries and states can do paternity tests in nurseries after birth. However, preferable at clinics for paternity testing. Of course, once determined, you would have to pay child support. Sorry for not buying your story. It sounds like a deadbeat dad. I'm losing my mind here. I need perspective. 6 months ago, I moved in with a friend and her friend. My friend is chill. Her friend is nice but a super clean freak. My friend warned me about that, so I've been on my game, keeping everything extra clean. However, we have had some small differences of opinion. E.g., I left 2 textbooks on the kitchen table overnight after studying, and the following day she told me I shouldn't leave mess on the table. Okay, I didn't think a couple of books was a mess, but cool, no worries, won't do it again. The problem is the fridge. One of Jane's weekly self-appointed chores is to clean out the fridge. I don't think a fridge needs to be cleaned weekly, but hey, her call. The thing is, she keeps throwing out my food. We have different ideas about how long food is still good. She's adamant leftovers shouldn't be eaten after 3 days. I eat leftovers for up to a week. I'm pretty generous to my vegetables with how long I still eat them. If my carrots go a little soft or my kale's a bit wilted, they're not perfect, but they're still good for a stew. Let me stress, they are not going bad or gross or smelly or moldy or any of the terrible things you can imagine in a shared fridge. I never left bad food in there. They're just not supermarket shiny. My food budget is tight. I'm not gonna waste food. We just had a blow up because I went to eat this stir fry I cooked Monday night. Gone. Jane's thrown out my leftovers because she claims it's gone bad after a few days, or thrown out unpretty vegetables that I know were fine because I looked at them that very day, but she claimed that they were gross. I've asked her before not to throw out my food just because she wouldn't eat it, because it's fine. I asked her about the stir fry. She said she threw it out because it's been there for weeks. Jane, it hasn't been there for weeks. I cooked it on Monday night. It has. It's been there for weeks. It's disgusting. I got rid of it. Jane, I literally cooked it on Monday. I know I did because I was there. Would you please stop throwing out my food? It's fine. You don't have to eat it, but you can't just toss my stuff. She went off about how it's disgusting the food I keep in there, and it's going to make me sick. It doesn't. And how she's doing me a favor, and I should be thanking her for clearing the fridge weekly because it's disgusting that we wouldn't do it if she wasn't here. I can't even deal with this. So I calmly said, Jane, the fridge isn't disgusting. Please leave my food alone, and walked upstairs because I just couldn't handle getting into a screaming match about it. She told my friend how rude I was to walk out on a discussion and how my food was gross. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Either segregate areas in the fridge that are off limits or label your food with dates or your name. If she continues this, I would tell her that you need to be reimbursed. She has no business calling your food disgusting. If she cleans it out every week, obviously nothing prepared could have been in there for weeks, and she knows it. Start going into her bathroom and throwing out old toothpaste, deodorant, personal products, and tell her they're old and disgusting, and they will affect her skin, teeth. See how she likes it. Not the idiot. Your roommate should not be throwing out your food without asking you first. If the food is going bad, they should approach you first. It is a serious red flag that your roommate is now making up the facts. The food is weeks old to justify their behavior. Your roommate may be a clean freak, but they need to understand that they have roommates, and just like you did, they need to make adjustments for the people they live with. Not the idiot. Unfortunately, you may only have 4 options here, and one is to move out. You can start putting leftovers in the freezer where possible. I assume she doesn't toss frozen foods. You can get your own fridge if you have the room, or you can start eating her food when she throws yours out. It may take that level of stupid to get her to stop, but at least you can eat. Update. Okay, thank you all. Label your food seems to be the winner, and also the most sensible, most straightforward, and non-conflict inducing advice. Although I am finding my petty streak, maybe all the labels will say, "It's fine, Jane, leave it alone." I inherited a house a few years ago after the passing of my grandfather. The timing was perfect, as I had just graduated, and it wasn't that far from the area where I wanted to work. About 2 to 3 years ago, a development company bought many surrounding properties to build a semi-gated community. The fence for the community ends a good few yards away from my property, but isn't closed all the way. Now that people have moved in, I've been getting HOA letters about fees, my lawn, and my house paint. I tried emailing the HOA president, but they never got back to me. I crashed the last meeting and explained that my house wasn't part of the neighborhood and therefore not part of the HOA. The president and board members tried to say that I was because of how close my property is. It isn't, and I have documentation from the development company and the county saying it isn't. However, after the meeting, the president emailed back and said that regardless of the particulars, I should still try to conform to the rest of the community because I was bringing property values down. I know I was very lucky to get my home, and I don't want to negatively affect others, especially considering the current market. Am I the idiot for not listening to the HOA? Not the idiot. Always refuse to engage. That way they can never claim that you agreed to be a part of it. Those fees are ridiculous. I would never join an HOA. Why would you pay a ridiculous monthly fee so that someone can come and tell you what to do with your property? Also, HOA reserves the right to put any home in the association on sale if it doesn't conform, which means they can sell your house and you don't even have to agree. Not the idiot. Keeping your property nice isn't the same thing as conforming to HOA standards. If you want to be a good neighbor to add value, you likely already do most of these things. Mow your lawn regularly and make sure your landscaping is cleaned up a few times a year. Clean up the front lawn area if there's anything your granddad left there, and paint the house once a decade. You don't have to follow their rules on how often to mow, what color paint, etc. I'd send them a letter that you do not belong to the HOA, and further letters of violation will be considered harassment. Please don't join them voluntarily. They sound like idiots.